Sometimes the universe does not respond to your noise. It answers your silence. When you stop fighting for what you think you deserve, life begins to bring you what you truly need. The Stoics understood this long before the word manifestation ever existed. They believed that tranquility, not tension, is the state from which wisdom, clarity, and strength emerge. You don't manifest by demanding, you manifest by aligning. By aligning your mind with nature, your will with virtue, and your actions with reason. Welcome to Stoic Valor, where every word is meant to awaken the quiet warrior within you, the one who knows that peace is not weakness, but the highest form of power. The idea of manifesting everything you want often sounds like something mystical, as if the universe is a wish-granting machine waiting to obey your desires. But the Stoic mind sees beyond illusion. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." The Stoic does not manifest through mere wishing. He manifests through discipline, acceptance, and alignment with what is, because only the calm mind sees clearly enough to act effectively. Imagine a lake at dawn. When the water is disturbed, it reflects nothing but chaos. When it is still, it mirrors the sky perfectly. That is the mind of the Stoic. Only in stillness can you perceive the truth of your path. Only in peace can you make choices free from impulse. The Stoics called this inner state ataraxia, a deep, unshakable tranquility that no external storm can disturb. It is not apathy, but mastery. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And this mastery begins in the space between your thoughts and your reactions. In that space lies your freedom, the power to remain calm when the world shakes, to breathe instead of breaking, to observe instead of overreacting. The person who controls their inner weather controls their destiny. To relax and manifest everything you want is not a passive call to do nothing. It is an invitation to surrender what you cannot control and focus all your energy on what you can. This is the central axis of Stoicism, the dichotomy of control. You cannot control outcomes, but you can control your actions. You cannot dictate the winds, but you can adjust your sails. You cannot force the world to bend to your will, but you can bend your will to wisdom. When modern minds speak about manifestation, they often speak about energy, vibration, or attraction. The Stoic translation is simpler. Your thoughts become your reality when your actions follow your reason. Seneca wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." The calm man does not wait for miracles. He becomes the kind of person miracles are drawn to. Every moment you resist, you lose energy. Every moment you accept, you gain power. Imagine how many people live trapped in tension, wanting, chasing, forcing, and yet never finding peace. Stoicism teaches the opposite approach. Relax, not because you've given up, but because you've understood. You cannot push a river to flow faster. You can only learn to move with it. When you relax, your perception sharpens. When you stop clinging to control, your focus returns to the only thing you ever truly owned, yourself. The Stoics believed that our emotions are not enemies, but signals. Anger, fear, and anxiety are signs that we are attaching ourselves to what lies beyond our control. The calm mind, through reason, interprets these signals not with judgment, but with understanding. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." What he meant is that your suffering is not in events, but in your interpretation of them. Change your interpretation, and you change your reality. That is the Stoic version of manifestation, the transformation of perception. True manifestation is not about asking the world to change. It is about changing your relationship with the world. When you release resistance, you see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. When you quiet the noise of fear, you hear the guidance of reason. Let's picture two people. Both lose their jobs unexpectedly. One panics, blames the world, and spirals into despair. The other breathes, reflects, and accepts the event as neutral. neither good nor bad, until he decides what to do next. From that calm, he identifies possibilities, learning, redirection, growth. The first man is ruled by circumstance, the second by virtue. Which of them is truly manifesting? Epictetus would say that the second man has understood the essence of control. He no longer demands that life conform to his expectations. Instead, he conforms his expectations to life. And in that alignment, his energy flows freely again. This is how peace becomes power. When you relax, your attention returns to the present, the only place where creation occurs. Anxiety pulls you into the future. Regret drags you into the past. But manifestation happens only in the now, through deliberate action and detached patience. The Stoics called this state prosauche, the art of constant attention to the present moment. Modern psychology echoes this wisdom. Studies on mindfulness and cognitive behavior mirror the Stoic idea that your perception shapes your world. Ryan Holiday, a modern Stoic author, reminds us the obstacle is the way. This is not merely a slogan, it is the realization that every difficulty can become the seed of growth if faced with calm and clarity. When you are tense, your mind narrows. When you are calm, your awareness expands. Relaxation in Stoic terms is not laziness, it is readiness. It is the mind unshackled from panic, open to see the next right action. This readiness allows you to respond with precision instead of reacting with chaos. The Stoic path to manifestation is built upon 4 virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Wisdom to see what truly matters, courage to act on it, justice to align your actions with integrity, temperance to restrain the impulses that destroy inner balance. Together, they form the architecture of serenity. Manifestation without virtue leads to vanity. Virtue without serenity leads to burnout. But when calmness and virtue merge, you become unstoppable, not because the world bends to your will, but because your will bends in harmony with nature. Think of Marcus Aurelius, leading an empire through war and plague. Writing in his tent, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His empire could crumble, but his spirit remained untouchable. That is the power of relaxation born from mastery. Not apathy, but total control of the only kingdom that matters, the self. In our modern lives, the storms are not armies or emperors, but deadlines, relationships, bills, and fears. Yet the principle remains unchanged. If you can stay calm in the face of your chaos, you will see patterns and solutions invisible to the frantic mind. You will manifest clarity, resilience, and direction, the true treasures of a Stoic life. The ancient Stoics did not speak of manifestation as modern self-help does, but their teachings form its foundation. They taught that the mind, trained in discipline and guided by virtue, shapes the quality of your life. Relaxation, therefore, is not a luxury, it is a duty, because only the calm mind can think clearly enough to act wisely. Relaxation is the soil in which manifestation grows. Force your thoughts and they scatter. Calm your thoughts and they crystallize into reality. The Stoics remind us you cannot control external outcomes, but you can create internal harmony, and from that harmony, right action emerges effortlessly. So when you feel anxious about what you desire, pause, breathe. Remember that the Stoic does not beg the universe. He becomes deserving of what he seeks by cultivating peace, discipline, and virtue. The universe then mirrors that energy back to him, not as magic, but as natural law. To relax, then, is not to stop striving. It is to strive wisely. To manifest is not to demand, it is to align. The Stoic knows that by mastering the self, the world follows, because in the end, the calm mind manifests not everything it wants, but everything it needs. To understand Stoicism is one thing. To live it, that is where the transformation happens. The Stoic path was never about intellectual admiration. It was about discipline, repetition, and the slow sculpting of character. The ancients knew that the calm mind is not born overnight. It is forged through practice, through daily rituals that train perception, strengthen will, and root you in peace even when the world trembles. Let us begin then, with the first act of manifestation in Stoicism, the morning command. Every day before the world begins to speak, you speak to yourself. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings reminding himself of what awaited him, people who would be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful. Yet he faced them with calm because he had prepared his mind before dawn. When you wake, instead of rushing into anxiety, take a moment to breathe. Ask yourself, what is within my control today? This simple question is the anchor that steadies the mind against the chaos of the day. A Stoic morning routine is not about performance. It is about preparation. As you rise, avoid touching your phone or being pulled into noise. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and repeat a mantra that centers you in reality. It could be as simple as, I will focus on what I can control and accept what I cannot. These are not empty words. They are your first act of freedom. Once your mind is calm, you can visualize not the fantasies of desire, but the image of yourself acting with virtue. See yourself responding with patience, speaking with wisdom, walking with purpose. This is the Stoic form of manifestation, the mental rehearsal of virtue. Because you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are prepared to embody. Epictetus told his students, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. That is manifestation in its purest form, a union of intention and disciplined action. When you wake, visualize not outcomes but qualities. Ask, what kind of person do I want to be today? Calm, just courageous. Then carry that image like armor into the day. Throughout the morning, practice one of the most powerful Stoic tools, negative visualization. It may sound dark, but it is a way to fortify gratitude. Picture for a moment losing what you love, your job, your home, a person dear to you. Not to invite sadness, but to awaken appreciation. Seneca wrote, he robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand. When you contemplate loss, you become grateful for presence. That gratitude dissolves anxiety, because fear lives only in attachment. Now imagine facing a setback. You lose an opportunity, someone disappoints you, or plans collapse. The untrained mind reacts, why me? The Stoic mind reflects, why not me? The first sees injustice. The second sees training. Every difficulty is an exercise in virtue, a chance to strengthen patience, courage, or understanding. This is how the calm mind manifests resilience. Let's create a practical example. Suppose you're building a dream, a business, a relationship, a goal that seems just beyond reach. You've been working hard, yet results delay. Tension rises. You start doubting your worth. Here is where Stoic manifestation differs from modern wishful thinking. Instead of obsessing over the outcome, shift your focus entirely to process. Write down what is within your control, effort, consistency, attitude. Release the rest. As you detach from the result, you paradoxically draw it closer because you remove the friction of fear. A daily journaling exercise can help. Every night before you sleep, ask 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I lose my calm? What will I improve tomorrow? This habit, used by both Seneca and modern Stoic practitioners, transforms your reflection into a compass. Over time, you will notice patterns, triggers that disturb your peace, moments that awaken gratitude. With awareness comes control. With control comes serenity. Now let's look at the Stoic attitude toward rest, because relaxation is not only mental, but physical. A restless body creates a restless mind. The Stoics, though disciplined, valued balance. They walked, meditated, wrote. They understood that the mind, like an instrument, must be tuned, never stretched to breaking point. Modern life glorifies busyness, but busyness is the enemy of manifestation. When you slow down, you synchronize with life's rhythm. When you rest intentionally, your clarity sharpens. Here's a practice. Once a day, sit in silence for 5 minutes. No phone, no conversation, no agenda, just breathe. Observe your thoughts like clouds passing across the sky. Don't chase them, don't fight them, just let them move. This simple act reclaims your inner space. It is the modern equivalent of the Stoics' morning meditation by the fire or a walk beneath the stars. Seneca wrote that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. The mind that never rests is always escaping itself. Relaxation in Stoicism is not indulgence. It is presence. When you are present, you make better decisions. And better decisions, made consistently, are the true mechanics of manifestation. To apply Stoic manifestation practically, remember these 3 daily principles. First, control your focus. What you dwell upon grows. When you fixate on what you lack, you feed scarcity. When you focus on what you can give, you create abundance. Second, accept discomfort. Every meaningful transformation demands effort. The Stoics trained themselves to endure voluntary hardship, sleeping on the floor, fasting, walking in the cold, not as punishment, but as practice. When you learn to be calm in discomfort, life's challenges lose their power to shake you. Third, align desire with reason. Epictetus warned against wanting what is not ours to want. Instead of saying, "I want this outcome," say, "I will act with excellence regardless of the outcome." This mental shift removes desperation, and that is what allows manifestation to flow. Imagine a modern scene, a young artist striving for recognition. He paints daily, but critics ignore him. Anxiety creeps in. He feels invisible. A Stoic mentor would tell him, "Your task is to paint, not to be praised. Focus on your brush, not the applause." The artist breathes, releases tension, and returns to the work. Months later, recognition arrives, but by then, he no longer depends on it. This is how the Stoic manifests success, through detachment and integrity. Every time you practice patience, you are manifesting resilience. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you are manifesting mastery. Every time you accept what you cannot change, you are manifesting freedom. This is the unseen alchemy of Stoicism, turning restraint into strength, simplicity into power. Let's deepen the daily routine further. Midday reflection. Pause for 60 seconds before your next task. Ask, am I acting from tension or from calm? This question brings awareness to every action. If you feel rushed, breathe and realign. The Stoic knows that speed without clarity is chaos. Calmness multiplies efficiency. Evening detachment. Before sleep, remind yourself, the day is done. I did what I could. The rest belongs to fate. This statement closes the mental loop of worry. You let go, not from apathy, but from trust. Trust that the universe unfolds as it must and that you have done your part. Relaxation, then, becomes not laziness, but leadership. Self-leadership. The Stoic leads himself first, and through that example leads the world. When you are calm, people feel it. Your composure becomes contagious, your presence grounding. You manifest peace not only in yourself, but around you. Remember, relaxation is not the absence of action. It is the purification of action. When you move without inner turbulence, every decision carries precision. The Stoic warrior does not fight against the current. He flows with it, steering with wisdom, adapting with grace. In moments of doubt, whisper to yourself the Stoic creed, I am not here to control the world, only myself. Say it until it becomes truth. Say it until tension turns into strength, until desire turns into direction. Because when your inner world is ordered, the outer world follows naturally. So every morning, prepare your mind. Every afternoon, act with purpose. Every night, release what is beyond your reach. This rhythm, awareness, action, acceptance, is the Stoic formula for manifestation. And if you ever forget, remember this. Calm is not something you find. It is something you build. Each breath, each pause, each act of restraint is a brick in the temple of tranquility. Build it daily. Protect it fiercely. Within that temple, everything you truly seek will arrive in its time. Because to relax is to return to alignment, and alignment is the birthplace of every manifestation worth having. If this message is resonating with you, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Valor, because here we don't just reflect, we transform. The world has changed, but the human mind has not. The same storms that raged in the hearts of the Stoics now live in ours, only their names have changed. What once were wars and famines are now deadlines, social pressure, and digital noise. What once tested the body now tests the soul. Yet the ancient wisdom remains relevant because it speaks to what never changes: the human need for control, the fear of loss, and the longing for peace. To live stoically today is to live differently. It means walking through a world of noise with the stillness of someone who does not need to shout to be heard. It means scrolling through endless comparison and envy and still finding gratitude in your own quiet progress. It means facing chaos and saying, "This too is training." Let's look at a modern story. There was a woman who dreamed of starting her own design studio. She quit her job, invested her savings, and poured her heart into her work. But months went by and nothing grew. Clients ghosted, money ran thin, and anxiety whispered that she had failed. One night she remembered reading Marcus Aurelius. What stands in the way becomes the way. She stopped resisting the struggle and began studying it. She realized that the delay was teaching her resourcefulness, humility, and resilience. So instead of panicking, she relaxed. Not out of laziness, but out of trust. She simplified her approach, reconnected with her purpose, and worked quietly. The energy changed. Opportunities appeared, slowly but steadily. Within a year, her studio flourished. She didn't manifest success through force. She manifested it through calm persistence, guided by reason. This is the power of Stoic manifestation in modern life, not asking the world to bend to your will, but becoming so grounded that the world naturally aligns with your direction. Now, imagine a man working in a high-pressure corporate job. Every email feels like a threat, every meeting like a battle. He wants peace, but he's addicted to tension. He reads about Stoicism and decides to practice a single concept: the dichotomy of control. He writes 2 columns on a piece of paper. On one side, what I control. On the other, what I don't. Under what I control, he lists effort, tone, preparation. Under what I don't, he writes others' opinions, outcomes, market trends. The next day he applies it. His boss criticizes him unfairly, and instead of reacting, he pauses, breathes, and responds calmly. The criticism no longer pierces his peace. Days later, colleagues notice his composure. That calm earns him respect. His mind, once chaotic, becomes centered. He realizes something profound. Manifestation begins when you stop fighting what you cannot control. This principle applies everywhere, from relationships to creativity to leadership. The Stoic does not chase emotions. He chooses them. He does not beg for outcomes. He earns them through character. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, this makes him rare. Another modern voice, Ryan Holiday, writes that calm is contagious. When you stay centered, people around you unconsciously adjust to your energy. It's not mystical, it's biological. The nervous system responds to emotional steadiness. The calmer you are, the more stable your surroundings become. This is why Stoic manifestation is so powerful. You influence reality by mastering your inner state. Take another example. An athlete preparing for competition. He has trained for years, but in the final week, anxiety consumes him. He obsesses over winning, replaying every possible failure. His coach, a student of Stoicism, tells him, "You cannot control victory, only preparation." The athlete listens, breathes, and redirects his energy from fear to focus. He relaxes not in surrender, but in clarity. When the day comes, he performs freely, naturally, without resistance, and wins. He manifested not through superstition, but through serenity. This is what Epictetus meant when he said, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings." Manifestation starts within. When you align inner harmony with deliberate action, results follow. Let's contrast this with a different image. Picture 2 people pursuing the same goal. One panicked, the other peaceful. Both work hard, both dream big, But the first clings desperately to results. Every delay feels like doom, every setback like proof of failure. His energy burns out quickly, leaving bitterness and exhaustion. The second person works with calm constancy. He accepts the long road, knowing that everything grows in its time. When problems arise, he observes them without judgment and adjusts. Slowly but surely, progress happens. Why? Because calm sustains effort. Because patience is the ultimate multiplier. The Stoic wins not by force, but by endurance. Even in the chaos of the digital world, Stoicism finds its echo. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." That statement could have come from a Stoic. The calm mind builds systems, routines grounded in discipline, while the anxious mind chases random bursts of motivation. Manifestation requires consistency, and consistency requires calm. Social media has convinced many that manifestation is about affirmations and vision boards. But the Stoic version is deeper. It is about mental architecture. You don't simply imagine success. You design the habits that make it inevitable. You don't force outcomes. You create the conditions where outcomes naturally unfold. And yet, calm is the hardest thing to maintain in modern life. Notifications demand attention. Opinions invade your peace. Comparison poisons gratitude. That is why Stoic training is revolutionary today. To sit in silence for 10 minutes is now an act of rebellion. To choose peace over performance is a radical form of strength. Let's reflect on a simple contrast: reaction versus response. Reaction is instinct. Response is reason. Reaction is the noise of ego. Response is the voice of wisdom. When you react, you scatter your energy. When you respond, you direct it. The Stoic learns to pause, that sacred gap between impulse and choice, and in that pause, he manifests mastery. There was once a firefighter who practiced Stoic reflection after every shift. He faced fear, chaos, and death, yet he remained composed. When asked how, he said, "You can't control the fire, but you can control how you enter it." That statement holds the entire philosophy of Stoic manifestation. The calm mind doesn't escape the storm. It walks through it with purpose, and in our daily storms, traffic, arguments, uncertainty, the same truth applies. Each challenge is not a barrier to peace, but a bridge to it. Each frustration is an invitation to return to calm. The Stoic learns to say, "This moment is mine to master." Think of Mark Manson, who wrote, "The desire for more positive experience is itself a negative experience." That aligns perfectly with Stoicism. The more you chase happiness, the more it escapes you. The more you chase outcomes, the more anxious you become. But when you relax and simply do your duty, focusing on virtue and effort, fulfillment quietly appears. A soldier once wrote in his journal during deployment, "I can't control if I return home, but I can control how I face each day. That gives me peace." This is manifestation in its rawest form, creating meaning in the face of uncertainty. The Stoic is not numb. He is awake. He feels deeply, but he does not drown. He desires, but he's not enslaved by desire. He dreams, but he dreams with discipline. This is how calm becomes creation, how relaxation becomes power. Now look inward. Think about the moments that tested you most, the heartbreaks, the failures, the disappointments. In those moments, what made you crumble was not the event, but your reaction. And what helped you heal was not time, but acceptance. That's Stoic manifestation, the quiet transformation from pain into power. Modern life will continue to test your calm. It will challenge your values, stretch your patience, and demand your attention. But each challenge is a reminder, you are not here to control outcomes. You are here to control your response. So next time something goes wrong, pause and ask yourself, what would Marcus Aurelius do? He would breathe. He would observe. He would act with reason and let go of the rest. That is manifestation, not through fantasy but through virtue, because when you relax into your strength, you stop chasing and you start attracting. You stop forcing and you start flowing. Calm becomes your compass, and discipline your direction. The Stoics remind us you can endure anything once you stop insisting it must be otherwise. When you accept this, you become unshakable. You no longer need the world to cooperate. You have learned to cooperate with yourself. And in that cooperation, everything you once sought begins to move toward you. That is the paradox of calm. When you no longer need to manifest, you already have. There comes a point in every seeker's path when the mind grows tired of chasing. When the endless struggle to control the uncontrollable becomes heavy and the heart whispers, enough. That moment, when you stop fighting and finally surrender to what is not defeat. It is awakening. It is the birth of the calm that the Stoics spoke of. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. Within you exists a place untouched by chaos, a stillness that no misfortune can disturb." You have felt glimpses of it in moments when you stopped overthinking, when you let go, when you simply breathed and trusted life. That inner space is the source of all power, all manifestation, all freedom. The modern world tells you to hustle harder, to grind, to never rest. But the Stoic knows that true power does not come from frantic motion. It comes from deliberate stillness. You do not conquer the world by running faster. You conquer it by standing still in your truth. To relax and manifest everything you want is not a paradox. It is a formula. When you relax, you align with the rhythm of life instead of fighting it. When you trust that rhythm, you act with calm precision instead of anxious noise. And when your actions flow from peace, results emerge naturally. Not because you forced them, but because you became the kind of person they belong to. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." The Stoic does not avoid struggle. He transforms it. Every challenge becomes training. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes preparation. The one who relaxes in difficulty is not careless. He's confident that fate has already chosen the best possible course, even if he cannot see it yet. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your greatest desire. Not the object itself, but the feeling behind it. Peace, freedom, love, purpose. Those feelings are not in the future. They are available now, within your control. You don't manifest them by waiting, you embody them. The Stoic manifests not by hoping for a better world, but by becoming a better human. This is why calm is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning, because from calm arises clarity, and from clarity, right action. The person who acts from chaos may achieve things, but he pays with peace. The person who acts from calm achieves with grace and keeps his soul intact. Picture yourself as the Stoics once did, a traveler on the path of virtue. Around you storms rage. People rush, complain, argue, panic. But you walk slowly with intention. Your pace is your power. You no longer need to force. You simply align. Every step becomes an act of faith. Every breath a declaration of peace. This is not weakness. It is mastery. Because when you no longer need the world to validate your calm, you have become free. The Stoic does not seek the applause of the crowd. He seeks the approval of his own conscience. He knows that to be at peace while others panic is the rarest form of courage. Relaxation, then, is not withdrawal. It is wisdom. It is the deep knowing that you cannot add anything to perfection by resisting what already is. Nature is not hurried, yet everything unfolds. The Stoic, observing this, learns to move with the current instead of against it. Think of Epictetus, once a slave, who wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In that sentence lies the whole secret of manifestation. You don't need to change the external to transform your life. You need only change the internal lens through which you see it. When you shift that lens, everything changes. The same job becomes an opportunity. The same rejection becomes redirection. The same silence becomes space for creation. The world remains the same, but you, calm, grounded, centered, perceive differently. And perception shapes reality. You may ask, But how do I keep calm when life hurts? The Stoics would answer, by remembering that pain is not permanent and suffering is a choice. They would tell you to observe the pain, learn from it and let it pass, like a wave that rises and falls. The calm mind does not drown, it floats. You manifest not by escaping pain, but by transforming it into wisdom. Every scar becomes a sign of resilience, every disappointment a reminder of endurance. And in time, you realize that the things you thought you wanted were only shadows of what you truly needed. Relax, because life is not against you. It is shaping you. Every delay, every silence, every failure, all of it is refining your character, preparing you for the things that truly belong to you. The Stoic calls this amor fati, the love of fate. Not merely accepting what happens, but loving it, trusting that everything has its place in the grand design. The calm person does not say, "Why is this happening to me?" He says, "Why is this happening for me?" And in that shift, everything changes. Frustration becomes guidance. Struggle becomes training. The universe stops being an enemy and becomes an ally. In the end, manifestation is not about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you are meant to be. When you focus on being rather than getting, the external world falls naturally into harmony. You stop needing and begin embodying. You stop asking and begin receiving. Remember this, the one who is calm is unshakable. The one who is patient is powerful. The one who can wait without anxiety already possesses the wisdom that others chase. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. That gratitude is the highest form of manifestation because it tells the universe, I already have enough. And when you believe you have enough, you begin to receive more, not as greed, but as overflow. So breathe deeply now. Feel the silence within you. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. The river of life has never stopped flowing. You simply needed to stop fighting the current to see it. When you relax, your power returns. When you trust, your path reveals itself. And when you act from that place of serenity, everything aligns. This is the Stoic way. Calm in motion, peace in purpose, wisdom in action. You do not manifest through tension, but through harmony. You do not conquer the world. You conquer yourself, and the world follows. So as this reflection ends, carry this truth with you. You don't need to push harder to receive more. You need to relax deeper to align better. Relax, breathe, trust, and life will unfold exactly as it should, because the calm mind manifests everything it truly needs. If these words found a home in you, let them grow. Share them with someone who needs peace more than promises. And if you haven't yet, join us here at Stoic Valor, where reflection becomes transformation and where calm minds become strong souls. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more stillness, more strength in silence, more hearts at peace.